But let's start with the Boston Celtics. They lose to the Atlanta Hawks last night. Tip in, not at the buzzer, but late in the game. A tip in from Atlanta. Celtics lose 117 to 116. I discussed it in the crossover with Greg and Wiggy and Courtney. I am concerned about the Celtics.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Not at all.
It's a long season, and I feel like, last year, obviously they won the title. There were times where they would lose to the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell, or the Lakers without LeBron and Anthony Davis, or some of these other teams that weren't even great teams and then didn't have their best players. So no Trae Young last night. They just beat the Hawks with Trae Young by 30 not too long ago, and now no Trae Young, and it did feel like they kind of were sleepwalking through the game, even when they were up 15 in the third quarter.
That's what's concerning.
Yeah, but I think come playoff time,
they're taking teams lightly and they're sleepwalking. That's exactly what's concerning.
So I guess to me it's not concerning because I don't think you would have that in a big game. I don't think you'd have that in a playoff game. I think that's why there aren't a lot of teams that win 70 games. There's not a lot of teams that win 65 games. Every year that teams lose games all the time that they probably shouldn't.
They lost to Golden State, but they didn't sleepwalk through that game. In fairness,
they were in it.
Yeah, that was not an effort thing. That was just they got outplayed, which I was less concerned with Golden State than I was last night. Is that a fair way to put it?
Do you think they were distracted by the court? Do you think the court threw them off?
Maybe.
Derek White was even his head was spinning at halftime when they were talking to him.
I'll be honest, I like the NBA Cup. I'm on record saying I like the NBA Cup.
Do you like the court?
No, not last night.
Okay.
I like some of the courts, but I didn't like the Celtics court last night, no.
Here's what I think. If you're going to go for it, go all out. Shouldn't the ball be a different color? I feel like go nuts.
They are different basketballs, but
the basketball's different, but it's not
it's not green.
It should be, and you don't want to steal the Harlem Globetrotters, but it should be 3 different colors. It should be crazy. Or maybe it should be green and black. It's sort of separated, be hey, that's a real home court ball. Because you're already going wild with the court. You're already just bedazzling the court. You're going crazy. I don't really mind it. I actually think it's a decent enough idea. I unlike you, I don't like the NBA Cup. But if you're going to do it, I think you should be able to tune in and know that it's a different type of game. So I understand why they do it with the court. But go all out, go crazy. Wear different uniforms. Wear different everything.
I don't get not liking the NBA Cup. I don't get it.
I'll tell you why.
I get not attaching significance to if you win it, it means you're going to win a championship. That's not the case. I thought it was important for the Celtics to prove as a measuring stick last year that they could execute in a one-off, high-stakes, quote-unquote, for a regular season game, high-stakes environment. It didn't matter. So I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
But I do like attaching stakes, as minimal as they are. I like attaching stakes to a game in November. And I like a tournament that I can get into if the Celtics advance that far. They lost last night. I like having that to watch. That's better than just pure regular season basketball. It doesn't count any different in the standings. Maybe teams take it a little more seriously. Maybe you get marginally better basketball in November and December, which is necessary because the NBA season is so long with so many meaningless games. I like it. And I really don't get what's not to like about the tournament aside from the court last night, which was atrocious.
I think, and maybe this is the big, ugly American in me, but we're just so ingrained that it's the championship. It's a Super Bowl, NBA title, World Series, Stanley Cup. Those are the only things that are important. And this is such a European soccer gimmick where it's hey, we're going to take a little break from our league, or we're going to play these games that actually, these games count towards this, these games count towards that. And they've tried to blend the two. This game counts in the standings. I get it. It counts in the regular standings, but it's also a special little cup. And then you give away this prize in the middle, and it's well, no.
So the prize I don't care about. Maybe that incentivizes down the bench players. I'm sure.
Well, no, they want the money, and I get wanting the money.
I'm sure Keita cares about it.
Yeah.
But the big stars, that's irrelevant money.
No,
I care about that part less. It's a better watch. And when you start getting into the games closer to the end of the group stage, where you get into the tournament format, your scoring differential matters. Remember how cool that was last year?
They hated it.
Okay,
the players hated it.
I don't think so.
Yes, they did. They said specifically.
So.
Remember, Jaylen Brown was that's not the game. We shouldn't have to try to win by 40.
I don't think,
he was
I don't
mad.
think all players hated it.
I mean, maybe not.
And so
not everybody agrees on anything.
I think it was a cool element to watch, and I care less about the players, to be honest. I want watchability in November because the players probably care about these games a lot more than I do.
I think the
NBA,
this
makes me care a little more and watch and pay attention and invest.
Did the NBA do this because they thought fans would care, or did they do it because they were all right, we have 82 games and we want to try to, make the players care more, and then therefore you'll have better product? I don't know, or there's more money, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's a monetary thing. It's something they could sell. The tournament games, the one-off games in Vegas are good. Those are something people will tune into. I don't think you tune in anymore last night going, oh my God, it's
NBA
Celtics
Cup,
Hawks,
let's
NBA
get
Cup.
it. No.
But there are minor stakes to it. And yeah, I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get viewers to watch games that normally they wouldn't. Normally, Celtics Hawks on a Tuesday night, tune out. Like, unless you're the hardest hardcore Celtics fan, normally you go, I watch Monday Night Football. I watch football all weekend. Tonight might not be the night I fully invest. But again, unless you're a media member or a hardcore fan or something like that.
But a casual's not watching it because it's the NBA Cup, I don't think.
No, but I think you're more likely to.
Maybe.
I think you're more likely to than in the past.
Because of the court.
Because of the court. Because of the stakes. Like, you can't deny there's no stakes. There are stakes to it.
But there's zero stakes to me.
You either advance to go to this tournament in Vegas, which I think players want to go to Vegas.
So there's stakes for the players. There's literally $500,000 for the players. I say for me and Joey Bag of Donuts watching the game at home, there's literally zero stakes.
But you don't want to see the Celtics in a one-off game, quarterfinal, semifinal, championship for the NBA Cup. You don't want to see that.
Obviously, I'll watch it, but no, because I'll wait for the real playoffs. Like, give me the real playoffs.
I know, but those
matters.
are 6 months away. This is right now.
This is a little lead up to it.
Yeah,
this is all.
This is something you can have right now.
Yeah,
we all want immediacy, Keith. We have no, we have no attention span. We all have short attention spans. You want to wait 6 months before you see competitive basketball?
It's the NBA title.
This is competitive basketball right now.
But they should be playing competitive basketball every night.
That's the idea,
but
they don't.
Yeah, but so you think last night is killing the players because they didn't win their first NBA Cup game? Probably not.
I don't.
Probably not.
But I think they might care a little bit more about the Cleveland game in a couple of weeks.
I think the guys on the end of the bench will. Like you said, the guys making $60 million probably don't care about an extra $500,000. They wouldn't even notice it was there or left. But the other guys, sure. The other guys, it matters quite a bit. But, I want the team to win as many games as possible. So if that means you end up advancing in the Cup and you end up winning the Cup, like, great. I wanted them at the beginning of the year to chase the team record. What did we say? 67 wins? Like, chase that. Like, you're one of the great teams of all time. Like, go after that.
Do you think that's done? That might be done.
9-3. No, because what can you have? You can have how many losses? We got to do the math on this now.
Yep, I'll do it.
15 losses.
You're so much better at math than me.
I think
82 times 0.75.
No, not times anything.
What? Yeah.
Okay, they can lose 15 times.
Win percentage.
They can lose 50. They can lose 12 more games.
Yeah. Right now, they have 750 winning percentage. They're on pace for 62 wins, so they're behind the pace right now.
They're behind the pace, no doubt. I mean, they just lost, but I think if they can rip off another winning streak, they can get back in the mix. I mean, in another month, we can take a look at it and see how close they are. But I guess the game itself. So take the cup part aside, they played down to their competition. They blew a 15-point lead. They took a bunch of threes, obviously, but they didn't do a good job at defending the paint. They didn't do a good job at stopping fast break buckets. Like, they didn't. Overall, it was just it was a letdown of a game, and a game they should have won. They were up by 15 in the second half, and no Trae Young on the other side.
So it's absolutely a game they should have won. The Hawks may be better off without Trae Young.
So there's a story there.
I said this in the playoffs. Did they play Atlanta last year? God, it all blends together. Was that 2 years ago? 2 years ago.
That would have been 2, yeah.
And so they played him in the playoffs 2 years ago, and I was like, they should bench Trae Young. Now, Trae Young ended up having a good finish to the series, but you could even see it then. DeJounte Murray, they were better with him.
Good teams just abuse him defensively.
Yeah.
Like, it's like worse than Peyton Pritchard. When a team like sees him out there, they just go after him. And then he's such a high volume shooter, and then if it's not going down, it's like, oh boy.
So the Hawks played well. You could see early they weren't going to go anywhere. They were good with second chance points, as you said, Keith. The Celtics were horrible with turnovers. Jalen had 6, Tatum had 5.
Yeah, sloppy.
Celtics again launched a bazillion threes, right? 40% they shot from 3, but they shot 45 threes in the game. And you just have to wonder, are they settling too much? Are they locked in on defense? It's another 117 points for Atlanta, who shot 51% from the floor. I just think their defense has been poor from the first game. I felt that way.
Yes. Yeah, that's
And
true.
that's not every single game. They've had good games mixed in there. I actually thought the Warriors game, ironically, which is a game they lost and gave up 118 points, I thought that was a game where they locked in a little bit on defense and played competitively on defense. You're just going against a really, really, really talented offensive team and Steph Curry, who murders you at the end of these games. I was okay with their defense in that one. I've been okay with their defense in select games. But largely, I think it's been poor. And that's effort. Rebounding is effort. Defense is effort. And I don't think the Celtics' effort has been good enough. That's all. It doesn't mean they can't win.
Didn't we say that one of the biggest issues they were going to have is just complacency?
Staying motivated,
Because
yes.
every team goes in saying it's the Celtics.
Yes.
We can beat the Celtics. That sort of makes our whole month. Like, what a great win that would be.
And
they're like every night.
They go in expecting to win.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially when you take a guy away. Like, I really think that. Not not that Trae Young is the be-all, end-all, but if Trae Young's out there, maybe they're a little bit more locked in. They're like, hey, we got to really defend this guy, and then they build up a bigger lead, and the Hawks just have a little bit of quit in them, and it's over. But that wasn't the case.
Okay, Jalen basically said this after the game. He's like, we thought we were going to win. We thought we were going to win this game, and it showed. Here's Jalen.
I think mentally, we just was too careless tonight. We expected to win, too careless, and it showed. I think the number one category it showed was in our turnovers. Uncharacteristic of us to have 20 turnovers, and under any circumstance, I just think that just displayed that we wasn't in sync like we normally were. So we got to be better at that, and I got to be better at that.
Okay. So we thought we were going to win.
Yep.
It showed.
Clearly.
He says it showed in their turnovers. I think that was sloppiness. I don't know if that was their attitude, but he felt that way.
But I think just when you think you're going to win, you're not
locked in.
No.
Right.
There's no attention to detail, and you're like, no matter what. Because then I think even when you're on offense and you turn the ball over, you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get them the next time.
We'll get them back because they're the Hawks and we're the Celtics.
Oh, they're chipping away. Like, the 15-point lead is disappearing. And even as poorly as they played and kind of lackadaisical, if Tatum hits that three at the end of whatever their last possession, and they're up by 4.
That thing was 95% down.
I was
99% down.
I know, Mike. They win by. So then they're up 4. Hawks come down, whatever, foul, no foul, and the game's over. And you're like, ugh, like they win and survive an ugly game, but not the case.
No.
So maybe like I don't know, like do they take this and they learn from this a little bit? Maybe like just hey, remember the last time when we right like, to your point, playing the Warriors, it's not the same thing. It's not. Oh, we lost the Warriors, now we're going to be locked in more. It's like, no, you guys were pretty locked in, and Steph Curry's a killer and whatever. You can't take anybody lightly. Even a Hawks team that is under 500 without their best player, you're still going to finish the game.
Well, and here's how the Celtics are going now. They're starting poorly. One of the things I applauded them for early against New York and some of those early games is that Tatum started great. They're starting poor. They're falling behind in all these games early. Yeah. Like Milwaukee was up big on them early. Brooklyn, who they had to go to overtime against, that is a win in the standings. But going to overtime against Brooklyn, kind of a loss. So their last 4 games is not a one-off. Anybody brushing this aside as a one-off is understating it. They lost to Golden State, which I don't have a huge problem with effort-wise. They go to overtime against Brooklyn. They fall way behind against Milwaukee in that game. They lose to Atlanta. When I say I'm concerned, Keith, if you're asking me Celtics or Field, I'm still picking the Celtics.
Yeah.
But
you just thought it'd look better.
They're
now
not playing
than
well.
12 games.
That's all. We should be allowed to say they're just not playing well. And you can brush that aside for whatever. It's November. They're irrelevant games. They're complacent. They don't have Porzingis. They're going to get him back. Tatum's not 100%. Like, there's a lot of things you can say.
Yeah, what do you think about that, by the way?
And qualifiers you can put on it, but the fact of the matter is they're not playing well. There might be reasons for it, but they're not. What do I think about what?
Well, Tatum and Brown both dealing with a little something. No excuses. They both played.
Brown looked fine besides the free throw shooting.
Yeah.
Brown and the turnovers.
But
Brown looked fine.
Missed a handful of games. And so maybe it's more rust than, like, how's his hip doing? It's like, but he missed a handful of games. Tatum obviously dealing with some sort of, like, a ankle thing or whatever. You know me, I'm never going to say, well, wait till they get Porzingis back. Like, he's literally, like, a bonus. Like, if you get Porzingis, great. And if you don't, I think you can still win without him because they proved that they could still win without him last year. But I think that they need to, and this might be a Missoula thing, and it'll be interesting because I think Missoula would probably tell you night in and night out, if we make more threes than the other team and shoot a decent enough percentage, we're going to win every time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah.
They made way more threes than Atlanta.
You made more
night.
threes. You took more threes.
It was 18-10. You took
45. They took 32. So you shot 40%.
Yeah.
You shot 40% from 3. Mm-hmm. And I don't know off the top of my head, but last year, I feel like that number, the team was insane. Like, if they shot as a team for the game 40%, they won almost every time. So he's probably looking at that like, well, how the hell? But then it goes back to Jaylen Brown's point. You can't turn the ball over 20 times and then give up a bunch of fast break points, second chance points. I mean, second chance points literally were the killer when you take a look at how the game ended.
I mean, right. You lost the game on
because
second chance points.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think I heard Wiggy say this morning. That's how they lost to Golden State. Like Curry killed them, but Kevon Looney got big offensive rebounds.
Right.
So that's something to watch. That's all. Am I still picking the Celtics to win the championship against the Field? Yes.
Yeah.
Are they playing well? No. So when I say I'm concerned, that's what I'm talking about. You guys can agree or disagree. All your thoughts on the Celtics last night, 617-779-7937. It's how you get in touch with Jones